So, in my recent trip to Nashville, I got the chance to hang out with the guys at Truetone Effects at their shop, which was an awesome place. Zach Childs of Ask Zach and the Truetone Lounge dropped some serious knowledge on all kinds of stuff. He really enjoyed playing my 67 Deluxe and my Sir Classic S Antique, and he sounded great playing them too. The guy's a great player, and they were just generally awesome guys to hang out with. So, big thanks to those guys for having us out, and I put together this video of some of my favorite moments. I think there's a lot of great information in here about all things Fender and guitar playing and all of that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please hit that like button, consider subscribing, and comment any of your thoughts as the video goes on. If you like the way that the Deluxe Reverb sounds, I've made Kemper profile packs of that I'll have linked in the description if you're a Kemper user. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Yeah, it's been great. The guy's dad played, but didn't play, never played out really or anything, and so it's just really a case queen.
Yeah, that's really
amazing,
really clean, and that's the original. Let's see, is it an Oxford or a Utah? I can't see the code on there. The Fender stickers over it, but anyway, yeah, it's an Oxford or a Utah speaker. But
because yours is a 65, right?
Yeah, mine's a 65, and mine is nearly as clean.
Yeah.
But yours is a little bit, just a little bit cleaner.
And it does have the kicker here is that, which I've left it just for vibe, but it has the sticker from the place that the guy bought it.
Yeah,
and
that was very, very common back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, they would. There was a place called H&H Music. It was a chain in Texas. And they would rivet their little stamp right here.
Oh, really? Like a metal badge?
Yeah, it's a metal badge. It said H&H Music, San Antonio, Houston, whatever. And so that was their way of knowing that they sold it and that they would, they would warranty it and take care of it and such. So, so this is very common. You see these stickers on the backs of vintage Gibsons and amps and all sorts of stuff. So there were stickers that they would put them back here near the serial number. So that's interesting that they put it on the front.
Yeah, I thought and it's it's one of those things that's I could probably do a really careful job and take it off, but that is the one thing on the amp that's not super original. I think it's just a cool.
No, it's cool.
Being raised in Alabama, it was just anything that's got Alabama on it, I feel like I have a little bit of an attachment to.
Well, that's why I always wanted to find a tweed or a blackface amp that had the H&H, because I'm from Texas.
Oh,
so I
okay.
wanted one that had a Texas music.
If you ever found that, yeah.
But
cool.
I'm happy with what I have. But I don't know. I mean, it just depends on how much this thing was played and how much. I guess it's fairly humid, here and further south. Yeah. But you could always pull that speaker and put something else in there.
Yeah. You need to plug it in and try it.
Yeah. I want you to. You know way more about this stuff than I do. So.
Because I do these playing examples, and I play the exact same thing on both guitars. And even while I was going down, I thought they sounded really similar. And it's like, it shouldn't sound similar because it's like, the 57's pre-CBS, and it's like, it's, Leo era, and the 67, it's a CBS telly. It's still okay. But, and it's like they've got, one has like staggered poles, the other one has only raised, it's like all these things, you'd think they would sound different, but it's like they end up sounding really alike. And so a friend of mine took my examples, he had them like right up next to each other, just the audio. I listened to it. I can't tell which guitar is which at all. And people in the comments are saying, "Oh man, the 57 sounds so much better." The 67 has this sweetness in it. And so we were talking about how I don't even think. I mean, I'm glad I did the video because it was illuminating, to me to hear how close. But also, it's that I like guitars to sound a certain way, and so I'm going to change the way I'm playing. I'm going to set up a guitar. I'm going to set the pickup height and all these things because I hear it a certain way. And so is it a real fair, comparison? Because it's like you have the same guy who's done all his stuff to two guitars. He set the pickup height and and it's going through the same amp. It's like, yeah. And it's like, and they don't sound a hill of beans, difference between the two.
Well, even like when you were playing earlier too, like you were playing a Strat like a telly player.
Yeah.
One especially with like the hybrid picking thing, obviously too. It's like, but coming from like I only played a telly for 8 years, and then I bought a second telly because I thought that was a real novel idea. Yeah. It took me a while to get used to the Strat for that same reason. It was like I missed the like just hitting the crap out of it and getting that immediate response.
Yeah.
But I play different when I play a Strat, but I don't. Yeah, and now I play a telly like I play a Strat, because I'm just so used to playing that one all the time and stuff, and it's really interesting.
I did the first interview with Tom Bukovac. I did it in print for Vintage Guitar Magazine. This was back in like 2005. And when I was interviewing him, he made I was asking him about, like his favorite players. And he mentioned a guy that I was well aware of, but the comment he made, he said, I really like Robbie McIntosh. And Robbie played with the Pretenders. Yeah. He played like middle of the road. He played with Paul McCartney. Yeah. Like in that, when Paul started
the Wings
playing,
phase, right?
Well, no, after Wings, it was the first stuff after Wings where he was touring again and doing a bunch of Beatles tunes.
Okay, yeah.
And so this is like Tripping the Live Fantastic and some of these other, so like late 80s through late 90s, he was the guitar player, the lead guitar player in Paul McCartney's band, and he played with Nora Jones, and he played with John Mayer for years.
Yeah. That was my introduction to him, was the Mayer years.
But what Book said about him was, he said, whenever Robbie picks up, he's that style of player. So when he plays a Strat, he's a Strat player, and he plays like a Strat guy. When he plays a telly, when he plays a 335, and he doesn't like me, it's like, I'm a hardcore telly guy. Everything I pick up, if I pick up that 335, it's going to sound almost like a Telecaster.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's still a 335, but I'm going to play it like a Telecaster. And that's why that's all I play. It's like, because it's like, to me, other guitars are just a waste. Because like I can't do that. I can't change my brain.
So did Leo get it right the first time? Is the question
Well, that's what I would say. Or it could be that I'm just a pigeonholed old fart. So that collected Klon pedals. He had over 20 of them.
Wow.
Are you kidding?
Some really unique ones too. Yeah.
So now guitar, I would have thought that, he also had a bunch of Pete Cornish pedals. He had a bunch of really expensive pedals. And I asked him, I said, what kind of guitar do you have? And he said, well, he had, just have a newer Strat and like a Blues DeVille amp.
That makes me so mad.
But he was just like, and I was like, you could sell one or two of those and you could get you like a really nice guitar amp. But he obsessed about Klons, and he had bought a ton of them. In fact, he bought some broken one or two that Dana fixed, where it was minor repairs. But he also he had some rare ones that were like
he had one or two that were modified by Finnegan. Yeah. That I think they're
like a one-off kind of thing. Yeah. He's like, oh, I want more gain on this, or I want less.
Yeah. I can't remember. Then I rehoused one for him too.
Yeah. One was John Shanks.
John Shanks,
it had extra bass to it.
That's right.
And then there was another one, but he had every different era of Klon, and and it was like, yeah, and he passed away, and
he said,
no idea
said,
what
why are
happened.
you collecting all these? He says, some people invest in, stock market. Some people put their money away. He goes, it's just fun for me to buy up $3,000 pedals. So,
and it's,
It's awesome.
I guess it's one thing if it's like he was getting them before they were hip and just liked the pedal and stuff, like,
yeah.
he
wasn't good. He probably had a few that were before they were super hip.
Yeah.
But most of them, I got the impression he'd bought in the last 10 years.
Wow, interesting.
So,
He died a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
so at the most he was paying like $2,000 each.
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
he's-
them he had gotten like at 500 to 1,000,
Yeah.
and a silver one, and compared them, and they basically, of course, again, it was one of those things where people started, the whatever one sounds sweeter or whatever like that, but still, it's like they were in the same ballpark. And I know too many people that are professionals that got rid of their Klons and got Archers or something else because it was like, then it was like, I don't like having this pedal that's that desirable and worth that much money on my board, and I'm going to fly with it.
Yeah.
So
Or someone's going to spill beer on it at a gig or
and
whatever.
They're
Like,
big.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not pedal board friendly.
They're not pedal board friendly.
Like,
Yeah. Someone should really tell Bill Finnegan that he
Yeah.
made a pedal that is not pedal board friendly.
Well, but
Says the company that made the Jekyll and Hyde, right?
in Finnegan's defense, and who was the guy that did the train wreck amps?
I could.
Anyway, what's his name? Anyway, and also R.G. Keene and others, I've talked to them about how the architecture, like the physical location of components changes the sound, and it changes
Yes.
and I know it sounds like voodoo,
No.
but I'm sure there were reasons why he made the housing that big, as far as the location of, so it does make a
Ken
difference.
Fisher.
Ken Fisher. Yeah.
Yes. And Ken Fisher, he had, Dr. Z had built an amp for Brad Paisley, and this was when I was still working with Brad, and he sent it to Ken Fisher to work on. And part of what he did was he changed one or two components, but what he did more was he moved
shift stuff
the
around.
physical location of components, and it changed the way it sounded. And it was like one of those things that sounded like voodoo, just
Right,
like,
right.
this is a bunch of garbage, but it was like it made a big difference.
When
So,
it's-
Wonder
yeah.
if that's more of an effect in amps than it is in pedals.
I would think so.
The bigger capacitors and things like that, you'd think something
you
that's
got big
storing power and
transformers,
The electric, the fields and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
and that's a big deal with tube amps.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you look in old amps, you'll see that certain wires are twisted around, and they
Yep.
do, and it's all to get rid of noise and oscillation.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like circuit board layout.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So-
Uncle Skip Simmons does the same thing. I had no idea. He's just like,
Yeah.
I have guys in his gruff voice, like I have guys ask me all the time, blah 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 blah, and like, they want to build a champ, but they're like, oh, I can fit all this in a smaller box, and he's just like, I tell them just go on ahead. But there's a reason why Leo and the Cats back in the day did it that way, and sure enough, like if you build an amp kit, it's like you can put together the simplest champ kit, and like I've heard some demos of them that were just unbelievably noisy for a 5-watt amp.
Yeah.
It's like 5 watts worth of noise.
Yeah.
Like anyway, it's crazy. All right, I have a question. The answer may be no. Can I see the Klon?
It's not here.
Ah,
I'm so sorry.
it's okay.
Keeps
It's
it at
okay.
his house.
All of that.
He keeps it at his house.
That's okay. That's okay.
So I borrowed it, and I had to give it back to him. And he took it back to his
You
house.
didn't have to give it. Well, I used it. I used it for a little while
Yeah.
until I got that.
Yeah.
So
Ah, okay. Well.
But it's still at his house.
yeah, just come by the house, check it out.
eh,